Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we are going to be featuring some battles from my wife. We stream these live on YouTube. We're probably going to be streaming live again right as soon as this video is posted. The team consists of Defense Deoxys, Greedent, and Greninja. This is one of the 20 teams that Jonkus featured on his YouTube video about the 20 teams, ultra like legend players and their Ultra League teams. So this was one of them. We're gonna show off these battles here. I think she played 5 sets, went positive in 4 of them, probably like something like 15 and 10 or something. It was a pretty strong team. Defense Deoxys and Greninja are super fun to play. Maybe Defense Deoxys not super most fun to play. Anyways, this is a pretty good lead. Deoxys hitting the Walrein with super effective counters. And then here comes Charizard, gonna bait with the Psycho Boost, and then we'll see what the opponent is gonna do. They will shield, and then gonna go into Greninja. This Hydro Cannon will definitely take out the Charizard. Charizard definitely could have thrown there. It already had the Blast Burn, but they decided to let it go. And we're gonna see what's in the back. The opponent decides to leave the match there. Greninja, super spammy, super glassy, but in Ultra League, it's like much more tankier, so it can like take moves much more comfortably. Like in Great League, like a resisted surf still does like 35%, so it's not as comfortable. Okay, we're gonna go this next matchup here. Defense Deoxys versus it's actually Snarl Muck, which is much better for Greninja. Worse for Defense Deoxys. But this is interesting. They're staying in. They do throw the Sludge Wave, but as you can see, Greedent is very tanky. Gonna throw the Body Slam. These Mud Shots are also super effective, so they're gonna chip away at this Muck. And we see Cresselia coming in. Gonna throw the Crunch. Crunch is super effective, but Cresselia is super tanky. These only do like 27% or something like that. Does get the defense fall. So now they'll do around 40%. And then one move from Cresselia will not KO. They need 2 Grass Knots. That'd be the most logical play to do it. And they do throw the Grass Knot. Maybe the Future Sight, if they had Future Sight, would become pretty close. But we'll reach another Crunch, and we'll see whether or not this Cresselia will shield. And probably let this go here. But let's see. We'll let it go. Gonna come in Greninja. Oh no, gonna come Defense Deoxys. And then gonna switch, try to catch the move there, and the opponent still not throwing here. Gonna throw the Hydro Cannon, which will do quite a bit of damage to the Muck, and this Muck is building up quite a bit of energy. Will it bait? Will it go for the move? They will end up baiting and gonna farm up. They tried to catch there, but very good patience. And then Greninja has a pretty good matchup versus Giratina, but the Dragon Claws still do about 30% to Greninja, so 3 of them will KO. But as you can see, Greninja spamming these moves super fast, and the opponent throws right away, which allows the big sneak in. And gonna throw another Night Slash at this Giratina. We'll see if the opponent will shield. They will not shield. They'll completely sack the... And then gonna throw the Night Slash. Really just needs to chip away. If they don't shield this, then it doesn't really matter here. Gonna likely let this go because you can just counter and Psycho Boost the Alolan Muck. They actually end up throwing the Dark Pulse. Gonna switch, and then honestly, it doesn't really matter here. Can just take the move. It does like probably about 60% to Defense Deoxys, maybe a little bit less, and then gonna be able to throw the Thunderbolt. They definitely were in Psycho Boost range. Psycho Boost would be single resisted due to the dark typing double resisting, and then the poison typing single super effective or single weak to it. All right. Yeah, these were. This is first time for her playing this team. So if you want to check out her playing more of this team or potentially some Halloween Cup battles, then check it out on YouTube. Okay, it's an interesting matchup, and this is favorable for Charizard outside the 0 shield. The 1 Thunderbolt doesn't KO. It does do quite a bit of damage, but in Ultra League definitely does not KO. Gonna go for the bait, and then probably gonna look to switch to Greedent afterwards. Because if they have something in the back that is good against the like a Virizion or something, you definitely need to bait it out. They will throw the Blast Burn, And gonna throw the body slam. This will chip away. 2 body slams will likely be enough to take out the Charizard. Pretty close. And then here comes Walrein. This team is usually Charizard double water. So Greninja should be able to sweep in the back. But let's see. Depends. We know that there's likely no fighter in the back. This also doesn't KO. And so we'll see. Gonna switch out right away. And we will see what's gonna happen here. And probably should let this go. If he didn't throw the Psycho Boost, maybe. But now I need to wait the clock. But Greninja has a good matchup versus Walrein. And likely you want to do 5 of them, then throw. That'll be right before the Earthquake. And they throw at kind of a weird time here, to be honest. Like, this is almost certainly not an Earthquake. And then here comes Swampert. Gonna throw the Night Slash. The Hydro Cannon would be more energy efficient. But gonna go for a bait. We will see if the opponent will shield or not. And you kind of have to shield here. These Hydro Cannons do hurt. And then gonna do 1 and throw the Hydro Cannon. And then we'll see how this is gonna play out. They just barely survive, and then gonna make the very nice catch. Now the opponent should be dry, but we'll see how they want to play this. Honestly, I think you just one shield farm down. They do come into Charizard trying to catch the move. Unfortunately, they will not catch a move. They will catch a Hydro Cannon instead. And then we'll see this Walrein has some energy since it did throw the Icicle Spear. But this Walrein's not going to have enough. We're not going to be able to win CMP. Greninja wins CMP versus almost everything in the meta. Maybe not Galvantula is probably the most common Pokemon that loses CMP to. And there's probably a few other ones that are like IV dependent. I guess like Dragonite might be IV dependent, depending if they have higher attack Dragonite. All right, we're going to see Defense Deoxys into Swampert. Gonna build up some energy. Eventually gonna throw the Psycho Boost. Gonna throw the Psycho Boost at a random time there so to prevent them from catching. And then probably gonna look to go to Greedent here. Again, you want to bait out if they do have a Virizion in the back or Cobalion. They will throw the Earthquake. And they do catch the move onto, is that Armored Mewtwo? Very interesting pick. And Armored Mewtwo, very... Let's see, gonna throw the Crunch. This will deal super effective damage, but Armored Mewtwo pretty tanky, almost as tanky as Cresselia, but does get the defense drop. They will win CMP, which is there's not very many teams that Greedent beats CMP with, and Armored Mewtwo is certainly not one of them. Gonna go into Greninja. They do have access to Dynamic Punch, so we'll see what they decide to throw here. They end up throwing the Side Strike bait. And then gonna throw the Night Slash at the Mewtwo. We'll see if the Mewtwo decides to shield or not. They don't decide to shield. And then here comes Swampert. Interesting. They're gonna come into a loaded Greninja. And then gonna throw another Night Slash bait at this Swampert. We'll see if they decide to shield. They don't decide to shield. Gonna switch out. Nothing KOs. The Defense Deoxys at this health from the Swampert. So they will throw the Hydro Cannon. Can take another Hydro Cannon, and they actually come into Talonflame. And gonna throw at very nice timing versus this Talonflame. This is right before they get to a Flame Charge or Brave Bird. Flame Charge or Brave Bird will not KO. The opponent throwing a good timing. Let this go. And then they will throw the Flame Charge. And then gonna do 2 and throw. A little bit dangerous because if that Incinerate would have KO'd, the Defense Deoxys would not have been able to get off this Thunderbolt. And should be pretty okay here. Gonna shield probably here. Even though this is likely a bait, they will throw the bait. But there's just really no way that this Talonflame is gonna be able to get off another move. Maybe they should just went Brave Bird. That's probably the most likely way that they can win. And gonna get the BM boost at the end. Very nicely played there. All right, we're gonna go into this next game. This team's definitely very solid. There's obviously a few problematic Pokemon. Like Cresselia is pretty tricky here. So gonna build up some energy and then probably look to catch onto. Okay, gonna take a move first, then switch. There's certainly some problematic Pokemon for this team. Like Cresselia is like both okay and not okay. And then obviously Virizion in the back is, which is why you need to say switch into the Greedent to bait it out. Even though they do resist the mud shots, the body slams do add up to quite a bit. And they do throw on alignment. A little bit dangerous play there. Probably could have snuck a mud shot through, but that's okay. Gonna be able to reach the body slam, which probably does about 30%. Maybe less than 30%, like 25%. Maybe less than 25, like 20% to the Virizion. We'll see if they reach the red. They actually do reach the red. So these moves are chipping away. They will throw the Sacred Sword. And then here comes Virizion. Virizion will throw the Leaf Blade. And gonna let this go. This Virizion is quite tanky. Gonna switch, gonna make the aggressive play, and they come into Cresselia. The Moonblast does about 70%, and then the Grass Knot is about 54%. So no move one shots, and then as well, Greninja does double resist the Psycho Cut, so don't do that much damage. Didn't throw the best timing there. Threw on alignment, gonna shield. And then they will throw another Grass Knot. Gonna shield again. Probably could have let this one go, but they do have quite a bit of energy on the Virizion still. Oh, makes a very nice catch onto onto the Deoxys, but they do have a Jellicent here. Jellicent is very weak to Greninja, so Greninja is quite good against this backline here. It does get the boost and the Night Slash. The boosted Night Slash, I think the Night Slash does like 40%, so this boosted one would almost certainly KO. Gonna throw another one at this Jellicent. They will have another shield, and we will see what's gonna happen here. Shadow Ball is not enough to KO here. It does do quite a bit of damage, and this should be enough to KO. The Night Slash is a 2-stage boost, which does make the Night Slash 50% stronger. And then without the boost, there's absolutely no way there would have been a win there, but gonna pick up the very nice win. Greninja, humongous core breaker in the back. And we're gonna skip ahead here. We're just collecting some Pokemon here. Again, if you want to check out the battles, they are posted on YouTube. The full set there, the full stream. Kind of going into Registeel. Registeel actually beats the Defense Deoxys in the Zero Shield. Yeah, it beats just because they can reach 2 Zap Cannons and then they can lock on that. They actually end up shielding. I think I remember this game. They actually had a very spicy team in the back. I think they had Buzzwole and Lantern in the back. And then we will see the Thunderbolt again. And then they throw. And then probably going to look to switch to Greedent to bait it out. And unfortunately, it is a Buzzwole here, which is so disastrous here. Yeah, super disastrous. And then they do resist the mud shots. The body slams do chunk away, but these counters are also super effective. I'm going to let this go. Unlikely that they superpower here. They will throw the lunge. Does a decent chunk of damage. Greedent's still pretty tanky. Going to be able to reach this body slam and reach another one, which is not enough to KO though. And they will look to farm down. And oh my gosh. This is super bad here. This Buzzwole is actually able to farm down and then gonna throw here. Hopefully they don't throw lunge. They actually end up throwing the superpower, which does, I believe, does more damage than lunge. It definitely does more damage than lunge. But we're gonna see Registeel still come in and gonna throw the Hydro Cannon. The Night Slash is pretty close to KOing there. I think it does like 15%, but they will reach the move here. And unfortunately, I believe it is a Lantern in the back. It is a Lantern. Oof. Lantern in the back. Super tough to deal with. Very tough back line. And then we're just going to go ahead and skip away to the next battle here. Again, we're going to be streaming Road to Legend, or my wife's in-game name, Greenish Backwards. Road to Legend. This is part 1. We're probably going to do part 2 again right after this video gets posted. So you can go ahead and join. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to show off one last battle here. Poliwrath into Defense Deoxys. This is actually a pretty good matchup for Defense Deoxys since it does resist the counters. And then they would win CMP, so there's no point in throwing it just in case they try to catch. They will throw the Scald. And they do actually make a very nice catch onto Muck, but that's quite all right. And then probably look to bank a move, then go to Greedent. Greedent has a favorable matchup versus the Muck. Since it is pretty tanky and has super effective Mud Shots. Not that the Mud Shots do that much damage, but it does make it better than when it had Bullet Seed, for example. They do Acid Spray. And then they're going to reach another move. This is okay because you want to be a little bit lower against the Muck anyways. Just so the Poliwrath can't farm as much. Maybe could have made 2 Body Slams versus the Poliwrath, but this is quite alright. And then we'll throw the Body Slam at the Poliwrath. Gonna get in probably like 1 Mud Shot. Just get 1 Mud Shot in. And we will see how this is going to get played out here. Gonna throw the Psycho Boost right away. This will debuff the counters, which will make this matchup a little bit tougher in the back. And they tried to make a catch onto the another Psycho Boost. Gonna throw the Hydro Cannon, which does do quite a bit of damage. Honestly, I probably wouldn't shield because nothing KOs here. They do throw the Crunch. Defense does fall. I think this is the mistake that was made here, was shielding this just because could just counter down the Drapion and then have double Psycho Boost. Gonna try to make it to the Hydro. Unfortunately, the Hydro is resisted, so it's not gonna be quite enough here. I'm gonna try to counter down. They will throw the Scald here, and then unfortunately gets the attack fall, which is very unfortunate. Though actually, maybe the Scald is not quite enough there. And without the attack fall there, then probably would have been able to win the game there, because that Poliwrath ended up surviving with 1 HP. So shielding the Aqua Tail, even if it was crunching and KO'd, you could just counter down and then double Psycho Boost the Poliwrath was probably the play there. All right, a very tough lead here. This is one of the core breakers, but usually most of these teams are very weak to Greninja in the back. So just going to play out this matchup. Going to fake the Rock Slide. So you're going to see 3 counters, then throw the Psycho Boost, and then do 1 more counter, then throw another Psycho Boost, which will be right before they reach the next lunge. Does get a shield, and then going to go for some chip damage. This Psycho Boost is very debuffed. So it's going to do like not that much damage. And then the opponent is likely going to throw on CMP since they don't want to take another Psycho Boost, even though it would probably only do like 15%, 20%. And then going to come into Greedent. They will reach the move. Body Slam wouldn't KO anyways. And they come into Galarian Stunfisk. Going to throw the Hydro Cannon. As you can see, they're pretty weak to Greninja, but Greninja's pretty glassy. We will see if there's going to be a shield or not. They will throw the Rock Slide bait. Gonna shield, and then likely gonna do 3 then throw. I'm gonna do 2 then throw. Probably could do 1 more. We will see what this Galvantula decides to do. Gonna do one in throw because we're gonna have to take a. Well, I guess if they don't shield there, I don't think a Night Slash KOs here anyways. And then gonna throw the Body Slam at this Galvantula, which they will survive. But gonna be able to Mud Shot down this Galvantula. Ended up being a Politoed, and this is actually a pretty good situation here. This Politoad is gonna need 2 moves to KO this, maybe even 3 to KO Greedent, and Greedent is spamming away with these very interesting team. And we're gonna see there's not really too much this Politoad can do. We're gonna throw a Body Slam at this Politoad again, and then gonna probably force this Politoad to throw at Greninja, and they will probably build up a decent amount of energy, though the Weather Ball won't KO Greninja. So gonna let this go. They're definitely in 1 Night Slash range. And this is game over here. Gonna shield and then throw the Night Slash. It is available. Hydrokin would also KO, but Night Slash, I believe they actually do the same damage when Hydrokin is resisted. But obviously, Hydrokin costs more energy and picks up a very nice win there. So this team definitely struggles against like Galvantula leads, and there's like Virizion in the back and that kind of stuff. But it is a pretty strong team. Definitely one worth trying out. And again, check us out on YouTube stream, YouTube live, if you want to see the battles live or make any suggestions. And then if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.